Oh, that's a really good rib. Absolutely. Yes. 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 Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to G-Rod Grills. My name is Gerardo. Today I'm going to be doing the second part of a 3-part rib series with Bradley using the Bradley full rack digital smoker. If you didn't watch the first one, wait till this video is done and then go back and watch that first one. In that first video we did a 3-2-1 rib, which meant we smoked the rib for 3 hours, we wrapped it for 2 and then sauced it for 1. In this video we're going to be doing a 2-2-1 rib, meaning we're going to smoke for 2, we're going to wrap for 2, and then we're going to sauce it for 1. Both of these types of styles of ribs yield 2 very different types of tenderness and types of flavor on that rib, and I definitely encourage you, if you haven't tried 2-2-1, to give it a shot. Are you ready to get going? Let's go. Okay, here we go. Here's our second rack here. And again, same as the last one, it's just a spare rib that I've trimmed down into a St. Louis cut. Again, I've trimmed down some of these kind of little bits and pieces. What I'm just gonna do here is I'm going to grab a paper towel and try to remove this membrane, just like we did on the other one in the other video. If you haven't seen the other video, go ahead and hit up the rest of the videos. You should see my first one there for 3-2-1 and have a look. And just with a paper towel, you grab and you pull. There that is. And just like we did with the other one, I am going to use just regular yellow mustard as my binder. Just a light coat of yellow mustard. There it is. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to use, again, just kind of like a homemade rub here. A little bit of paprika, some salt, some onion, some pepper. You got some brown sugar in there as well. We like our ribs sweet in our house, so I'll show you. This is going to be a little savory on this side, but I'll show you how I make them sweet at the end as well. Again, you pat that in. You don't want to rub it in. You want to, otherwise you end up with this kind of like paste stuff. Make sure you get the ends. I apologize for the lawnmower. My neighbor's doing his lawn right now, but hey, it's summertime, right? Gotta get it done. Next, we're using the Tailgaters Party Rub. Again, the coarser rub goes on top. Add it in, that's it. Now I'm gonna flip her over and do it again on the other side. Again, if you've got the time to let it soak in for a few minutes, it's the best. I'm gonna do this here. And then we'll repeat it again. So we'll do this, and then the Party Rub. And that's it. Now, just like we did with the other one, this one's gonna sit on the counter here for the next 15 to 20 minutes, just while I get the Bradley smoker up to temperature. It's gonna be ready to go once that kind of the salt and the sugar start melting into the meat itself, and you see it kind of starting to sweat, just like it did in that first video. And it'll start sweating up. You can almost start seeing it happen here a little bit. But we're gonna let that happen, and then once it's nice and moist, then we're gonna put it into the smoker. That's gonna help with the smoke adhering to the meat. See you guys in a little bit. All right, so it's time to put our next set of ribs in. These are going to be our 2-2-1 ribs, and hopefully you can see the glare isn't too bad. There's a little bit of moisture kind of coming off the top, and that's exactly what we want. I want them to be nice and wet right on the top side. I'm going to throw them in the smoker. The smoker's been running at 250 degrees here the entire time. We're running apple biscuits. Apple and pork just go really well together every time, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So it's on this rack here, the bottom rack. I'm just gonna pull it more towards the middle and give it a squeeze just to kind of tighten those bones up a bit. Make sure and shape it. Want to make sure that it's tight as it can get so that there's not a lot of surface area there, and it cooks all nice and evenly. That's it. I'm gonna close her up. I'm gonna be back in about an hour or so to check in on it, and I'll show you when we get there. All right, so it's been about an hour in. I just spritzed it. You can see it's a little bit on the moist side now. Again, apple cider vinegar with mixed with apple juice. I did spin it around in here, so we had the bones facing the back side first. Now we've got the bones facing the front side, and we're just gonna throw it back in there. Looking a little dry, still a little bit on kind of this side here, right in this area, so maybe I'll just give it another little spritz. I'm gonna throw that back in there, and I'll come back in about half an hour, 45 minutes, check it out again. Here we go. Now we've got our ribs down, and these are the 2-2-1 ribs. This is what we've been working on. That means 2-2-1 means 2 hours in smoke. We're gonna wrap it for 2 hours and then one more time unwrapped with the sauce on for one last hour. This is part 2 of our 3 rib series. So if you missed the first one, definitely go and check it out. That was our 3-2-1 rib. And this one's shorter of a smoke on it, but we're going to wrap just as long here. So, and the way we do it, we're gonna set it up the same way we did that first rib. And the way we're gonna do that is I'm just gonna go ahead and flip this, and you can see here, this is actually looking pretty good. It's got a little bit of nice bend on it already, but it's certainly not ready. It's pretty tight when we look at it, so we'll leave it there. The way we do this is we're gonna set it up a little bit of brown sugar, just to kind of the length of the rib here. We're adding some butter, and this is just going to melt super nicely on top of that. And then I'm going to just some honey, add a little bit of extra sweetness. I know you're probably thinking, hey, G-Rod, that's a lot of honey. It's not. It's gonna be perfect. Pork and sweetness is the way it should be. In my opinion, that's just the way it goes. So we're gonna flip these meat side down on all that deliciousness. And, oh, one thing I forgot here. The same rub that we used on our ribs to begin with, we're gonna put some of that down here as well. Perfect. And now we're just going to do our wrap portion. Super simple, just like we did on the last one. We're going to take 2 pieces of foil. And the reason we do 2 is in case any of these kind of corners, there's a little bit sharpness, a little bit to them. So if any of them are too sharp and they poke through, we don't wanna cut through them. So. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of my sauce in here, or my spritz liquid in here, which was 50-50 apple juice with apple cider vinegar. I'm just gonna add about 1/4 cup's worth. That's going to help to prevent those sugars from burning up and gonna help braise that rib just perfectly. And then we're going to put it back on the rack, and we're gonna put it in the smoker bone side up. So the meat's gonna be facing down now. The meat's now sitting in that, all those juices that we just added in, that butter, that sugar, that rub, that honey. The meat's gonna sit in there, and it's going to help kind of get that going. So we'll throw this back in the smoker, and I'm gonna see it back in about 2 hours. So in 2 hours, I'm gonna take these out and I'm gonna sauce them, and we'll show you when we do that. Okay, here we go. So it's been 2 hours in wrapped. We're gonna unwrap this beauty, and we're gonna give it a sauce. Look at this. Smells fantastic. So look at this. Beautiful rack. Got a nice little bend on it. That's exactly what you're looking for. It's gonna cook a little bit longer here. In here I've got my sauce. This is just a rib glaze that I have, just like a standard rib glaze, and mixed with my favorite barbecue sauce, which is a blue ribbon sauce from a company out in Saskatchewan. If you can get yourself some of that, it's absolutely fantastic. It helps too when you put the sauce on, if it's warmed up, it won't kind of give you as many streaks. And again, it just kind of helps with what it looks like. But we want to kind of paint it on everywhere. Put this back on the smoker for 1 more hour. I'm gonna time that out, and then we're gonna be ready to eat. Let's go throw this back on, and I'll show you when it's all finished. All right, so here we go. This is our 2-2-1 rib, and this means that we smoked for 2 hours, we wrapped for 2 hours, and then we sauced it for the final hour. You can see here a little bit of a different cook than 3-2-1. If you recall that one, the bone not fully kind of pulled back quite on this one yet. That said, though, it does, I think it looks almost better than the other one. When I look at this rib, to me, it looks a lot better, and I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of give her one of these. And this is kind of what you want in a rib. It's so that it bends with no effort without really ripping or breaking the meat. It's definitely something we weren't able to do with that 3-2-1. As soon as I picked it up, it fell apart. So let's taste it and see what happens with this one. So this looks more like the kind of rib that I normally would make. It's kind of held its shape quite a bit. It didn't really break off that bone or rip off of that bone at all. Just kind of hung in there nicely. So wait. You can see here, nice clean bite through, right through to the bone, really not a lot of meat. Then where my teeth didn't kind of scrape down. Oh, that's a really good rib. Absolutely. Yes. 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 That's a good rib. Very moist, very tender, smoky, sticky, sweet. That's definitely a good rib. I mean, it might be premature, but I'm calling it. I feel like I like this one the best. 2-2-1, get it. So good. One thing I would have changed a little bit, maybe instead of doing 1 hour with the sauce, maybe I would have done half an hour with the sauce. 2 hours smoked, 2 hours wrapped, maybe half an hour with the sauce. Just kind of put it in there enough to get it sticky and tacky and not quite so caramelized on top. But you know what? It works. It works on this one. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Also, if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any content. If you want to see more of me, head on over to my YouTube channel. I'm at youtube.com/GrodGrills. You see a lot more of my cooks there as well. Also, make sure you come back for part 3 of this 3-part rib video that I'm doing. The first one was a 3-2-1 smoked rib. This one was a 2-2-1 smoked rib, and it was out of bounds. This one for sure was so good. I can't wait to try that no wrap rib coming up in the 3rd part. I bet you it's going to be just as good. Hopefully it's even better than this one, but this one's pretty darn good. Anyways, until next time, I'll catch you in the next G-Rod Grills.